Arsenal 1, Bournemouth 2, an incredibly deflating result in the end, a performance that started with some promise but ended really, really badly. We're going to talk about it. I've just got home. If, though, before we get into it, I could ask you to subscribe. We're on the way now. We're like 60-something subscribers away from 16,000. I'd be incredibly grateful. Smash a like on the video as well, even if, the content of it, I don't think any of us like. I don't think any of us like what we saw today. But look, let's get straight into it. Realistically, the opening hour I thought was pretty good. I was fairly happy with what I was seeing. We were seeing fluidity within the team. Yeah, we weren't creating an abundance of chances, but it looked better. The opening opportunity we had, this was something I was enjoying. Declan Rice, even further than an 8, he was pushing up almost as the striker at times. And that was that fluidity. We were seeing Trossard drop deeper, Martinelli drop deeper at this point here. Trossard's out on the left, Martinelli's picking it up, plays a lovely little ball in behind to Declan Rice, dragged it across the keeper, but it was a lively start. And that was something that throughout the first hour, I thought was really encouraging. And again, that ultimately leads to the goal. Martin Ødegaard picks the ball up here, and he, I thought, had a good opening hour. For the first hour, he's getting a lot of criticism again, and I understand from what we saw at the end of the game, but the first hour, I thought he looked sharper. I thought he looked more confident, more aggressive. When he picks the ball up here, quite often you'd expect to see Martin Ødegaard turn out or hold it up, but he actually takes it in his stride, runs in field with it, and then plays this lovely ball into Declan Rice. And Martin Ødegaard thrives when he's got runners. We need to give him runners more often. And it's a great slide ball into Rice. And then from Rice, the way he takes it around Kepa and buries it, that's a striker's finish. That's like striker's instinct, takes the ball in his stride, sells the dummy to Kepa. And then even with the finish, he gets a bit of elevation on it to make sure that the sliding defender doesn't get a block. And at this point, I'm fairly happy. We were conceding a couple of sloppy chances at the other end, don't get me wrong. But overall, we get into halftime. It's 1-0. I'm thinking, for the love of God, please can we just have a professional second half? Please can we just not throw this away? Please can we keep a clean sheet? And, of course, that didn't happen. But even before that, again here, this was early in the second half. Saka has come over to the left-hand side at this point. It's a brilliant ball from Miles Lewis-Skelly. Absolutely fantastic ball from him. And it's a good effort from Saka as well. Cuts in on his right. And again, this offers you something different. And I wish we'd see this more. I wish we'd see, actually, Saka moving across the front three more, because it confuses teams. But also, if you're right back or right centre-back suddenly going, oh my God, I'm dealing with Saka now. I didn't think that was going to happen. It provides you more. And if this goes in at this moment, what could have been? What could have been? It's 2-0. But it didn't. It didn't. And then we capitulated. After the hour mark, we capitulated. The first goal that they get back, it's a long throw-in. It's a long throw-in. How that takes you back to a bygone era at Arsenal, and one that we all wish to forget. Rory Delap throwing it in. And the thing was, no one even competes for the header. That was the worst part. Huijsen, don't get me wrong, he's a tall, kind of gangly kid, but the way that no one's even challenging him for the header is so disappointing. And yeah, I think we're missing Gabriel. And I also think we're missing Kai Havertz when it comes to defending set pieces. But I don't think there's any excuse for that. And then it goes from bad to worse. We take off Declan Rice just before this corner. Never a fan of that. We subbed off Rice for Marino, literally in the break before this corner. And again, it's just sloppy. I can't actually remember who that was at the near post that wins the flick on, but, completely unmarked. He makes the run from the edge of the box. No one tracks it. No one follows him, wins the flick on. And then you can already see it there. Ødegaard at the back post with Ivan Nilsson is getting bullied. Is it a handball? I think it is. I think the way it bounces downwards, like, it's one of those things. There's nothing on your body that could cause the ball to bounce downwards in the way that it does. It has to come off his elbow. It's exactly the same as Havertz against Liverpool, and again, I used the exact same logic in that one, which did get ruled out, which was it has to come off something solid, bony, to deflect downwards like that. I think it was Liverpool. The handball I'm on about. Maybe it wasn't Liverpool. Whoever it was against. But yeah, so I do think it's handball, but ultimately, I'm not blaming that for the fact that we'd lost, because it was just, it was shambolic and it was disappointing, and it leaves us in a bit of a precarious position. So we'll go back to this screen and bring up this. First of all, the lineup. We went strong. And that was a decision I disagreed with in the first place. I didn't think it was worth risking all of these players ahead of PSG, because I felt like we should be able to rotate and still get a result at home against Bournemouth. That is my opinion. We should be able to do that. We didn't rotate, other than Timber, who wasn't in the squad at all, for Ben White, and then obviously Partey for Marino. And at that point, you have to get the win. But the other thing I was looking at, other than the fact that I didn't want to risk these players getting injured, was actually midweek, this group of players played one of the most intense games of football that they would have played all season. And then you're throwing them straight back in at the weekend. And so it wasn't actually a massive surprise to me that we fell off physically after the hour mark. And we did. Once we went 1-0 down, we didn't have a single shot between going 1-0 down. Sorry, not going 1-0 down. Once they equalised, we didn't have a single shot between the equaliser and them going 2-1 up. We weren't able to press them either. You know, once we were 2-1 down, even at 1-0, but especially at 2-1 down, we weren't pressing them. We weren't forcing them into anything. They were actually quite comfortable. And I think that a lot of that is down to the lack of rotation. Now, look, in Mikel Arteta's defence, you look at our bench. I mean, eventually Nwaneri comes on. I wish Nwaneri was given more time. Sterling coming on, so obviously completely redundant. Zinchenko and Marino. Outside of that, you know, we don't have a lot to come off the bench. We don't. But yeah, I felt like we should have rotated a little bit more. Fortunately, we didn't pick up any additional injuries. And so we have the chance to put it right against PSG. And that's the major thing. We just have to put it right against PSG. But I'm looking at some things, the mentality within this squad. Do you start questioning some of their mentalities? And I hate that. And I've said that before. I hate the mentality. But it is a thing where we are not controlling games in a way that we should be. And this game today, where you've gone full strength, you have to pick up the 3 points. We have to put ourselves in a position where we're not looking out over our shoulders. And yet we just seemed to fall apart mentally and physically towards the end of the game. And that's not good enough. And now, if we do go ahead, let me just bring that back up. We do go ahead and look at the table. You know, suddenly you're going, well, we're 3 points ahead of Man City. We're potentially only going to be 2 points ahead of Newcastle United. Then you've got Chelsea, Forest. They can both close the gap to 4 points. Suddenly, by the way, we're looking at needing Liverpool to do us a favour by beating Chelsea tomorrow. That's a criminal position to have put ourselves in. And it could get sketchy. It could. I don't think it will. You know. But then again, we're playing Liverpool next weekend straight after PSG away. Then we've got Newcastle United, which is going to be an incredibly difficult game. And we may end up, at the very least, relying on beating Southampton on the final day. And whilst that should be a complete given, you don't want to be going into the final day having to get a result to finish in the top 5 in the Premier League from where we've been. So, yeah, an incredibly frustrating end to that game. And that's the thing. I think there was a lot more anger, frustration at the final whistle today than I've seen almost from any other result this season. And that's not a good kind of vibe to be in going to Paris. But that said, put it all behind us. Literally, the players have to put it all behind us. As fans, to be honest, if we just start dragging this on, banging on and on about it over the next few days in the build-up to that PSG game, we're not going to help them. So I feel like we just need to forget about it. They've got the chance to put it right in Paris, and I really, really pray that we do. Because if we don't, it's a bad, bad season for what was the expectation. And I know there are reasons for it, and I know we've had the injuries and all the rest of it. And I do think that has played a huge part. Don't get me wrong. But some of the results over the last few weeks, you know, we were ahead against Bournemouth. We lost it. We were ahead against, was it Brentford? I can't actually remember. I've erased most of them from my memory. But if we go back to our previous games, may as well do it here. Yeah, I mean, Palace was a poor result, having been ahead twice. And then what were the other ones? There were more before this. Uh, how do I find the rest of the games? I don't know. You know the games I'm on about. Was it Brentford we were beating? No, Brentford we did beat. No, did we beat Brentford? I can't even remember. I don't care. Point is, forget about it. Oh, yeah, these were the ones. No, yeah, Brentford we were winning. Ended up drawing. Not good enough. Bournemouth, like I said today. And then what was the other one? There was not Everton. No, there was another one at home as well. Oh, Palace. Yeah, Palace. So Brentford, Palace, Bournemouth. We've taken the lead in all three of those games. We come away with 2 points. In total, we've dropped 21 points from winning positions this season. That's not good enough. Anyway, look, I'm not going to keep you any longer. I know most people don't want to consume Arsenal content after a loss like that. I hope you enjoyed. You didn't enjoy it. No one enjoyed it. Literally, no one enjoyed it. Please like, please subscribe. There will probably be at least one more video before I go to Paris. Then, like I said, short form content whilst I'm in Paris. And then maybe a little longer vlog of Paris once I get back. But until then, I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I will catch you on the next one. Goodbye.